My name is Gideon Baffoe, and I am a lecturer here at the Department of Environment and Geography. So I do research and I also teach. I started my academic career as a researcher at the United Nations University Institute for the Advanced Study of Sustainability in Tokyo, Japan. That is where I started my academic career. So I was there for, I think, 6 to 7 months as a researcher, and I got the opportunity to move to the UK, University of Glasgow to be precise, as a research fellow back in 2018. So I was in Glasgow for 3 years, and in 2021, I moved to University of York as a permanent lecturer at the Department of Environment and Geography. So that's where I've been till today. So this is a short or a brief history about my academic journey so far. For the past 3 years, I've been working more on urban development, looking at sustainable cities in the global south. And I currently work in Africa. I work in Rwanda, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, and then also Tanzania. And my current project is looking at the how urbanization, the process of urbanization, is changing the well-being of people living in marginalized communities. And communities here, I use the neighborhood as the lens to try and understand how the process of urbanization is changing the well-being of people living in these marginalized neighborhoods in Africa. And I'm using Kigali at the moment as a case for the work that I'm doing now. So my project is about urbanization process and well-being at the neighborhood level in Kigali. So Kigali is in Rwanda. Of course, that's the capital of Rwanda, and Rwanda is in East Africa. In case you don't know where Kigali is, so Rwanda is in East Africa, and the project is about how the process of urbanization in this city is changing well-being at the neighborhood level. And I'm looking at how the land use planning processes is impacting people's life at the neighborhood level. All right, for instance, when they are expropriated, how do people manage to cope in their new environment? There has been a massive transformation over the past 2 decades, and their model of development is excellent. All right. So I'm looking at how this process, this transformational process, is changing the well-being of people. And I'm looking at this, specifically looking at the expropriation process. The expropriation is whereby the government can move people from one location because of public interest. So the government can come and they say that, okay, you people living in community A, we want to move you to another location, or we want you to move. We are going to compensate you for moving you. We need this land to build hospital for the community or for this city. All right, so this is public interest, and it's different from displacement. This is backed by law, and it's internationally recognized. All right, so whether you like it or not, you have to agree to what the government is saying. The government will give you money, and then you move to wherever you want. If the government is generous enough, they will move you to a new location. But this is not the case in most contexts. But the issue with this is that in most cases, especially in Africa, the compensation is always far below the market value of the properties. All right. So people get the money, but they are unable to re-establish themselves. And people tend to struggle as a result of this process. And that's basically what I am investigating in Kigali. So I'm looking at how the process is sort of shaping people's lifestyle, well-being from the perspectives of livelihood, income, health, and then also social networks. Not much has really been done on expropriation in Africa, to be precise. All right, what we know is displacement. But as I already said, displacement is different from expropriation. So what I aim to achieve with this project is to provide better understanding on how this process is changing well-being, right, in these fast-growing cities in Africa, using Kigali as a case, right? So providing more perspective on the process of expropriation and well-being. And then another thing is also trying to amplify the voice of these marginalized communities. All right, they have been moved. Some are now struggling. They don't have voice to say what they are going through. So my research aims to give voice to them by way of amplifying what they are going through. And I believe that through this, we can create that awareness, and policymakers can come in and then say that, oh, okay, we did this. I think we've made a mistake. We need to go back and then make amendments to what we did by way of maybe making interventions to improve the well-being of these people. So my project aims to not only contribute to policy making processes, but also to provide better understanding on how this process is shaping well-being at the neighborhood level in these fast-growing cities in Africa. What I want to do is to draw the attention of policymakers to what is happening. All right, they are policymakers. They are there to make policies to make the society a better place for people to live. All right, but sometimes, in the course of doing things, they inadvertently, do some things that go a long way to affect the well-being of people. Sometimes they themselves might not be aware. All right, so this research is meant to understand the situation and then make recommendations for policymakers, all right, to rethink future expropriation exercises. So amplifying the voice of these poor people and then creating the awareness for policymakers to be aware of what's happening so that policy can be made or interventions can be put in place to help improve the well-being of these people. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, the recommendations would travel beyond Kigali. The other African countries can draw on that to improve the exercises that they're embarking on as far as their urban transformation processes are concerned. Okay, thank you. I hope you've had opportunity to learn a few things about my research. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.